The decision on the library lot certainly was far more complicated than people give it right to. What I heard as a representative from our constituents was far more balanced, lots of people that were on all sides of this issue for many different reasons, and weighing all of those component conversations, be them representatives of organizations or the hundreds and hundreds of individuals that contacted us, were all very important to me. When I looked at the sale of the lot and most of the issues that were brought forward as concerns, and worked with my colleagues both at the DDA, within the city, and with the county, I identified solutions to a multitude of the issues that were brought forward, and I thought that being able to resolve most of those issues before the construction of that facility was finished drastically reduced a lot of the concerns, not all of them certainly. The parking certainly being one of them. I immediately reached out to, when I was put on, when I got onto City Council, I immediately reached out to peers at the county as well as the DDA to identify ways that we could resolve the parking issue as soon as possible, ideally before the implementation of that facility was finished and that those parking spots were allocated. In fact, the conversation about having the county identify additional parking on their own property had not been a priority before at the county commission, and it is actively being discussed now. So I believe that we can resolve those issues as time goes on.
Thank you, Mr. Frenzel. Just to clarify, how did you vote on that?
I ended up voting for it.
Thank you. Ms. Bannister, we'll ask you the same question. I'll skip the preamble since I think you're very familiar with the topic. So how did you or how would you have voted on the library lot sale and why? And what advice would you give to the DDA in cost effectively and equitably managing the city's parking system?
Well, this issue to sell the library lot, I think, is sort of a poster child for some of the rush to development that we are experiencing in the city. I think that most all of the Ward 1 voters do support development. We just want development that is harmonious with our existing neighborhoods and also nurturing of our local businesses. With regards to the parking, I think that to sell the library lot for $10 million in April and then to turn around in about 2 months later and suggest that we might need $18 million just to replace those similar amount of parking spots that we sold leaves many of us scratching our head that that might not be responsible use of our limited financial resources. So I think the city can do better, that Ann Arbor deserves better, and needs a closer look at these sort of development projects that favor developers over the existing neighborhoods and businesses that we have here. And so I think that's important that we're also creating a precedent and possibly a domino effect where we may not recognize our charming city in a few short years if we don't change this balance and this thinking on City Council.